guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shanna Margaret B and I'm so happy to have you here. If you're new here, I really love thrifted and backlist books, and I also love a great cozy reading vlog. I also love to craft while I do my reading vlogs, so you get to see lots of my fun little crafts. I just did a book haul on my channel last week and I definitely accumulated some books. So these are my red shelves behind me, and then I have a TBR shelf in my bedroom. But I've been noticing that these are kind of getting busier and I just want to be able to redo my shelves at some point in the next couple of months, and I really wanted to clear off some books that I know I'm just not gonna read again or not super in love with when I read them. So I have about like 11 books to share with you today, and I definitely want to do a part 2 and go through my TBR to see if there's any on there that I might not actually read. These are going to be all books that I have read and that I'm going to be unhauling. First one was a big disappointment for me. I actually, for like rare occasion, paid full price for this one too, and that is The Wedding People by Alison Espach. This was such a big favorite for people last year, and I'm so shocked of how let down I felt. This book is about Phoebe, and she goes to an inn in Rhode Island to essentially kill herself. She's going through a tough time in her life, and she plans this beautiful vacation to unfortunately end her life. And while she's there, the inn is packed and booked for a wedding, and when the bride learns of her plan to kill herself, the bride is like, "You cannot ruin my wedding this weekend." So she invites Phoebe to be in her wedding, pretty much. I just felt like the relationships in this book were really clunky and really weird. And I thought that this book had been talked about that it was like light reading and fun and funny, and like I just thought this book was really depressing and sad. One of the people in the book has a daughter, and like I really enjoyed her character, but everybody else, but I didn't really love like the bride. I didn't really love Phoebe and her going through her breakup and things she was doing. I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to, and I was just super bummed about that. The next one is A Good Marriage by Kimberly McCreight. This is about a lawyer who's going through a tough time in her own marriage, and then an old friend reaches out to her and says, "Can you help with my case? I'm accused of killing my wife." And so she does decide to help him, and a lot of turmoil ensues in his life and her life and how they interact. I truthfully did enjoy this thriller, and I thought it was a good twist. I just, for some reason, it didn't really make much of an impact on me. I don't really think I'll ever reread it or recommend it a ton, so I don't feel the need to hang on to it. But it wasn't a bad thriller. Like, I've definitely read way worse thrillers than this. I think my big problem was I didn't really relate to or really like the main character of Lizzie, who was the lawyer helping her friend. I had to make myself some tea. I made some honey lavender stress relief tea, and it says the heart sees deeper than the eye, whatever that shall mean. But I had a really long day at work, so I was like, I know I just want to be super cozy. I literally have my heated blanket on, a candle, and my tea, so I was like, this is gonna be a very relaxing unhaul. Anyway, the next one is Atomic Love by Jenny Field. So this is a historical fiction taking place in Chicago in like the 1950s. The main character is a physicist who is a part of the Manhattan Project, which is creating like nuclear weapons. Our main character is in love with one of her colleagues. However, her colleague starts acting weird, and at the same time the FBI approaches her and says, "We need you to look out for your colleague to see if he's leaking secrets to Russia." So I enjoy historical fiction. This one didn't do a whole lot for me. I didn't really feel like it was super memorable, and the romance was kind of strange in it. I just wasn't obsessed with any of the characters for it to like make an impact on me, and I don't really think I'm going to reread this, and I've had this for quite some time, so I'm going to unhaul this one. The next one is a huge letdown to have to unhaul because I got such a beautiful copy that I was able to thrift. It was brand new, and it's just like a beautiful floppy cover, and I have to say, holding it and the floppiness I did enjoy when I was reading this, and I enjoyed the cover and looking at it. However, I did not enjoy the story, so I'm not going to continue on in this series at all. But this is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. This book really irked me. This book is about 6 magicians who are approached to try to earn a spot in the Alexandrian Society, which is like a magical society. I can't tell you what the heck this society is, what it does, what the purpose of it is. I found this book to be very tedious and frustrating, and it's all marketed magic, and like there's no magic in this book. There's like random like duels at points, and I was just like, why is this in here? I feel like I'm so lost. And yeah, I was just really let down because I don't read a ton of fantasy. This is like the magicians are in the real world, which I guess is kind of like a dystopian story, you could call it. I feel like there's a lot that could have been explored about the magicians being in the real world and how they're navigating that. Even the magicians, like, it just felt like a vibe that they were a magician. Like, I didn't actually know what their powers were. Like, each of them had a different power, but I swear I feel like it was just they each had a different vibe. I don't know, maybe this book just went like completely over my head, but I was really bummed out about it, and I'm going to get rid of it. Next one is another thriller, and I did a reading vlog for this book, All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. This was in my giving authors that I was disappointed by before a second chance, and unfortunately I was disappointed again. This book is about a woman who returns home to her hometown, and she hasn't been back for a very long time, and when she goes home, someone ends up missing. And it's kind of all linked to her because when she was growing up, one of her friends went missing and was never found. So it kind of reopens the missing girls case in the past while they're trying to still look for the girl in the present. I liked the beginning of this book a lot, and I did actually like the main character. I thought she was interesting. This book is told backwards, which for the first time, I don't think that it being told backwards bothered me that much. Like, you kind of start at the end of what's happening and you work your way back. Like, you start at day 15 and you work your way back to day 1 as you read through the book. So that I thought was really interesting. I thought it was very ambitious of Megan Miranda to do that and do something so different than what she normally does. The ending, I just can't get over it. I was just so mad at the end. I don't know how it could have ended differently, but I just felt like it was really obvious very early on what was happening, and I think that's because you do start at the end, so you can kind of figure it out by the middle, or maybe even a third in. I feel like I figured out the book, but sometimes even if I figured out, I don't mind the reading experience because I like to see how the author gets us there. But I didn't even really enjoy that, and I also didn't like the relationships in this one either. Lovely War by Julie Berry. I had high hopes for this because I am a historical fiction fan. However, I think because this is YA, it might have been why I didn't enjoy my reading experience as much. I read this last summer, and it's long, but it does go very fast, and also the audio was good for this one as well. This again, too. Such a good floppy book. But this takes place during World War I and World War II, and the Greek goddess Aphrodite is trying to tell the other Greek gods a story about true love and like convince them that true love exists. So we're following 4 different people, and then like their stories overlap at different points throughout the book, and you're reading about these 2 main like love stories and how those develop over time. I think the Greek god part I didn't really need, and I think it was in there because this is a YA book, so it made it more approachable for younger readers to like get the mythology and the fun part of like the Greek gods talking about true love and what's going on. It felt like a little gimmicky for me, and it didn't really do it for me. I feel like this book was like very overhyped in my opinion. Like, I was going into it being like, this is going to be my favorite historical fiction of all time, and I think that's also why I was unfortunately let down. But I'm going to pass this on, and I hope someone maybe a little bit younger than me can enjoy it. This one makes me sad. This is Finlay Donovan, Knocks 'Em Dead. I loved Finlay Donovan is Killing It. That book is about a struggling author who's a mother, and one day she's pitching her plot for her suspense novel, and someone overhears, mistakes her that she's like a contract killer, and like hires her to kill someone. Finlay Donovan is so good. It's such a great book. I really love it. I can't recommend that one more. However, I just felt like Finlay Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead fell so flat for me. I didn't even finish it. I DNF'd it halfway through. That was just really sad for me because I just loved Finlay Donovan so much. But in this one, someone wants her ex-husband dead, and so she tries to protect him. She's also kind of like crushing on having a friendship with this cop, so she's navigating that relationship and also trying to like keep her ex-husband safe, although she really hates him, but he's like the father to her children, so she tries to protect him. Another one in the series that you think is really good, let me know, because I'm not opposed to like picking up a random Finlay Donovan in the series, but this one just did not do it for me. So the next one is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I also talked about this book in the same video as the Megan Miranda one, where I tried to give authors a second chance. This book is about Nora, and she's a pretty miserable person, unfortunately, and one day she does something that lands her in the Midnight Library. And in the Midnight Library, every book she takes out is a different version of how her life would play out if she had done things differently. So that's pretty much what the chapters are in the book, is her taking out these stories and seeing, if I did this, would my life change like this? And so on and so forth. I just didn't bond with Nora, unfortunately. I didn't really enjoy the story. I think the premise sells the book hands down. The premise is so interesting, but ultimately I just thought the book was a bit too whimsical, I think, for me. Ultimately, like, I didn't like the main characters, so that's going to be a hard sell for me to love the book. But I do think there's people that could love this book. I mean, the premise is so interesting in itself. The next one is The First Mistake by Sandy Jones. So I have really enjoyed Sandy Jones. I really liked The Other Woman and The Guilt Trip. I liked those a lot. So I was really bummed that I did not enjoy The First Mistake. This is about a woman and she remarries because unfortunately her first husband passes away, and her second husband all of a sudden kind of starts to be pretty sketchy, and she's not really sure what's going on, and she confides in her best friend, and her best friend is also being kind of weird about things. So she's kind of on this journey to figure out what is wrong with everyone and why is everyone being so weird. I didn't like it. I don't know how much to describe it. I just didn't like it, and I was bummed because I knew I liked Sandy Jones's thrillers. They're usually like quick popcorn thrillers. This one was like monotonous and boring. I felt like not a lot was happening. I felt like things were so blatantly obvious and she just wasn't clocking it, and it was really aggravating me, and I just did not enjoy this one. The last one is The Last Invitation by Darby Kane. I think I read this in one of my fall reading vlogs. I'll link it on the screen if I can remember which one it is. This was my first Darby Kane and I was quite excited. However, I did not enjoy this one. This is about a lawyer who's trying to climb the corporate ladder, and she's invited into like this secret vigilante society of women who take matters into their own hands with men who are doing the wrong things. And isn't that like such a cool, fun premise? Super repetitive. I feel like I don't like repetitive books. This book just felt dumb. I did not love it. I think I still gave it like 2.5 or 3 stars. I don't remember. All of these men are dying and you're trying to piece together why the men are dying while you're also hearing excerpts of this society's meeting. So The Last Invitation is this lawyer is approached by someone who's pretty prominent in the town, who also works at her law firm, and she's like, would you like to be in this society? And pretty much the lawyer's like, no, and then like the woman is like, well, you literally have no choice because I've been convincing them to let you in and why you would be such a good fit for them. And then also the lawyer has like a friend that she had a falling out with, so we're also following that friend as she's going through like all of these crazy things. We're bouncing back and forth between 2 women characters, and I just really didn't love either of the characters very much to care much what was going on. Alright, well that was my book unhaul. Let me know if you read any of those. If you have any differing opinions, I'd be so curious. I know some people like love The Wedding People and Midnight Library, so I'm interested to see what you think of these. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Bye!